So the Liftat algorithm deals with that. To help understand this better, let me introduce this little visual aid. Do you know what that is? Have you seen that
I
before?
I've seen something about I didn't physically see it like you're holding up to, but I in a book or something like that. It was in an older system in I don't know Roman
Right.
times or something.
Yeah, so this actually was used up until the 1800s in England and Europe, and it's called a tally stick, and it's actually a split tally stick, and I'm going to kind of split it apart here so that you can see that it comes apart into pieces. And this is an ancient form of money that was very stable, and it's proof that people can make their own money. And so what would happen is it's an IOU, it's a contract, it's a smart, not a smart contract, it's kind of an old ancient contract. But the size of these notches, they're called chits, CHIT. And if your thumb fit in them, that meant one thing. And if your little finger fit in them, that meant something else. And if they were too little for either, that meant something else.
And
So
how does
you
it work when
have,
you've got one person who's got a hand twice the size of the other? Is it relevant to the person that owns it?
I suppose so. I'm a little too modern to answer that question, but it's really a wonderful story if you read up about the split tally. And MyChips is built on this concept. In fact, when we execute private credit contracts with other people, they're called tallies. So we're kind of modeled after this original form of money. But what would happen is if I was going to buy a wagon from you and you were the wagon maker, you would make the wagon and I would make the tally stick, and I would give you this longer piece. This is called the stock, and this is called the foil, and this was the money. And this was a claim against me for later. And later on, I might have to settle up with gold, or I might have to give you some reciprocal service. Or if other people knew who I was, and this was notable enough, you could transfer this around to other people. And eventually it could find its way back to me. And just a little interesting note, this is where the phrase, I got the short end of the stick came from. So the debtor in the arrangement got the short end of the stick, and the creditor got the long end of the stick. So the way that you funded the value in the tally stick was not with other money; it was with the wagon. So when you provide goods and services into the economy, you can create money out of nothing in very much the same way that a bank creates money out of nothing. But you're not creating it out of nothing. You're creating it from the wagon. So MyChips is backed by every commodity in the economy, and the money grows at exactly the same rate as the economy. So as the wagon comes into existence and is sold into the economy, a unit of money comes into existence in exactly the same proportion and size and exactly same timing as that commodity pops into the market. And so the money system is exactly balanced with the size of the economy. And so that's how you fund it. You get money into the system, not by going and getting, quote, real money. There is no real money. There's only money. And money at the end of the day, most money, if we're not counting commodities, if we're just talking about credit money comes into existence when someone trades some real thing. Like in the case of a bank making money, they're making it out of your house. Because when you borrow money to buy your house, they're using your house literally as the value base in order to back those new dollars that they are creating, quote, out of nothing. Well, it's not out of nothing. It's out of your house. Now, the time when money is made out of nothing is when the government gets to borrow and there is no house, and it can just borrow and borrow and borrow. It can borrow with no collateral. Well, that's printing money. But when you and I borrow, that's not printing money. That's backed currency. And when you privatize this, and instead of having a kind of a pool of mutual credit where different people can kind of leech off of the system by providing bad credit into the system, now it's sound money, because it's actually at every individual node, it's backed by a contract between two people or two companies or two entities who know and trust each other, and they have collateral. So for example, I could make a gold-backed chip or gold-backed tally simply by accepting gold as collateral to back a tally. And so I can, in essence, create this silver certificate in a chip form by providing silver or gold as collateral to my trading partner. And I can manufacture chips on the fly in my chips that are backed by gold. Now, the nice thing is I can back them by a car. I can back them by a house. I can create small amounts of them backed just by my character and by the promise that I will go to work and I'll earn some fiat currency, or I'll earn something else and I'll be able to make good. I'll be able to bake a loaf of bread. I'll be able to do a repair on your car. I'll be able to do any number of things. And so I can actually manufacture a certain amount of credit just out of my good reputation that I'll be willing to back that up at a later time. So that's the long answer about how you fund the chip, is you fund it with future value. Now the way I fund a Bitcoin is with past value. I burn up a bunch of electricity and I end up with a token. Well, there's no energy in that. But in a chip, I make a promise of future energy. And so when you get a chip, you're actually, you have unexpended energy. You have something that actually does have intrinsic value, because you'll be able to expend that energy for your own benefit